Today is a good day. Do you feel like today is a good day? I hope that today is a good day for you, and that if it's not, that hopefully this podcast will help make today a little bit better. Sometimes our days are made hard by the thoughts we think. Sometimes they're made harder by circumstances, and then the thoughts we think about those circumstances. Nonetheless, some days just seem to be better than other days. And lately, you might have felt some of the holiday overwhelm starting to creep in already. I definitely have. And I think I almost do a yearly episode about this topic because I get feeling similar every winter, every time the holidays come up and I get a little bit overwhelmed. And I want to share with you some of the things I'm doing to deal with that overwhelm, some of the things that have worked in the past and that still work, and that might help you in dealing with some of that holiday overwhelm. I'm Jocelyn with Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood, and we find the motherhood we've always dreamed of by shifting our thoughts and using our minds to work for us and not against us. Also with some tacticals on the way of how to actually do it. Thanks for joining. If you could give this podcast a rating and review on iTunes, it helps other women and mothers to find the podcast that can help them with their thoughts and help them to find the thoughts that will really propel them forward in who they want to be as mothers of God's children. I am here rooting for you, and I am in this journey with you. Let's do it together. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Thanks for joining. All right, so I think I have around 4 tips written down that I'm really excited to share with you today when you're feeling some of that holiday overwhelm. We recently drew names for cousins for my kids to get their cousins gifts, and I just started thinking like, wow, we're almost halfway through November and I don't have very much done and I don't know what to do. And it's just like, I just got a whole nother list of gifts plus the ones I usually like to do, plus my kids. And I want to do nice gifts. I want to do thought out gifts that the people would like, but it just kind of adds up and I get feeling a little frenzy and a little frazzled and overwhelmed to say the least. And it just seems really hard to get to it all. And then I get a little flustered and short with my kids, and I become not the mom that I want to be because I am dealing with some overwhelm. So let's talk about some ways that I have learned to take care of that overwhelm. Some ways that actually help me to get the overwhelm out of my chest, out of my head, out of my stomach, out of my heart, wherever it likes to hang out. And put it where it needs to be. I'll explain to you how to do that. So the first thing that I wrote down or on my notes to share with you is to actually do that, is to write it down. So something that helps me keep it organized at Christmas is just to take all the names of people I want to buy for and write them down. Just get it out on paper. Sometimes if we keep it inside, we get bottled up. And as we get bottled up, we don't have very much room for error, for anyone else or ourselves. So if our kids or our husband make one of those errors, or maybe it's ourself that makes one of those errors, because we have so much bottled up, it's going to overflow. There's not enough room to hold it all in because we just can't do that. And so then it gets spilled on your husband or your kids or your pets or yourself, which is not where we want that overwhelm to be. We want to use these mindset tools and these tacticals to take care of that overwhelm. So simply writing it down, I have found, is a really good way to get it out. When you're writing it down, you can also write down if you've had ideas. Like if you have had ideas for your son that you think would be fun for him, or if he's made suggestions and you want to remember them, like they're floating around in your mind, but not really anywhere else, write it down. Now, because it is a Christmas list, you might want to keep this list in a cupboard or in your book that your kids don't look at or something like that, so they don't by chance come across the Christmas list. But nonetheless, writing it down will help it not to have to float around in your mind and, like I say, cause some of those bottled up feelings which are not very fun and can kind of make us be a little bit more impatient. At least that's kind of my tendency. This is a new one that I've learned this year. Well, I actually just did it last week. I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. So I have come up with a few ideas that I think would be really fun for my kids, like hands-on ideas that I would like them to do over this winter or that they would be interested in trying. I'll tell you the ideas I came up with. The ideas I came up with were diamond art, cross stitch, and what was the third one? Oh, like building a radio. There's kids out there that I have a son who's getting older. I thought it'd be fun for him to build a radio. But these are like hands-on creative things that I thought would be fun for my kids. And I do want to explain diamond art really quick. If you haven't heard of diamond art, they're just basically like mini beads that look like diamonds that you stick onto a picture. And it kind of gives it a textury feel and shiny, and it's pretty cool. Look up diamond art and you'll be able to see some examples of it. And I thought that would be fun for my older kids because I want some hands-on stuff. I am not a big fan of screen time, so any way that I can think to get their hands busy is something that I want. So I've had these 3 ideas in my head for a couple weeks. And then, like I said, just this last week, I had the idea just to go find some on Amazon. Not exactly the ones that I want because I didn't have time, but just to put a diamond art in my Amazon cart, or maybe you shop at Walmart or wherever you shop online. Just put it in the cart and leave it there. Next time you go to that site and you remember or look at the cart, you'll notice, oh yes, I need to look for a hand-built radio that you can build with your hands, or I need to look for the cross stitch that I think my daughter would like, or the diamond art that would be really fun to do this winter. So just having them in my cart was a reminder that when I have time and when I'm looking on the site, I can actually go through and find the good ones. So it's kind of like writing it down in a way, and if you want to write it down, that's still a really good option, but having it in my cart has been a reminder like, oh yes, that's there and I'm going to get to it when I have some time, but I also can clear it out of my mind because it's in my cart. Like it doesn't have to hang out there anymore because I've got a trigger that will help remind me. Sorry, I know sometimes I talk really fast, but it's just when I get really excited, I have so much I want to share. I'll try and talk a little bit slower though. All right, the next thing is after you wrote it down, maybe you've put a couple things in your cart, is to breathe. Sometimes we forget to breathe. I just needed that breath right there because I was so excited about telling you the tips I have learned. Take a few cleansing deep breaths in and out on purpose. Sometimes we forget to breathe on purpose because it just naturally happens for us. But deep breaths can be really cleansing. Just do a few in and out. In your nose, out your mouth. And do a few of those breaths to help you just like recenter. I feel like that breath is almost energizing and it can help us to refocus on what we're doing. If you've listened to my podcast at all, in the past I've talked about 4-7-8 breathing. And I am still a big proponent and big fan of 4-7-8 breathing. I think it does help calm some of that overwhelm that we as moms tend to get, especially during the holidays. 4-7-8 breathing is just breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 7, and exhaling for 8. If you want more details than what I just quickly gave you, search it on the internet, and there are a lot of explanations of how to do it. All right, the last tip that I have written down right now is to do your best to change the negative to the positive. Sometimes our brains just get going on, oh my goodness, I have so much to buy, so much to get. I want to do personalized gifts, but I don't know if I'm going to find the time to look for them. And I just don't know if I can do it all. I'm so overwhelmed. This is so hard. So those are examples of a lot of negative thoughts that we can think about the holidays, about being a mom during the holidays, and about having to get all of this done for our families. So instead of thinking all of those thoughts, switch it around and try to find positive. I am grateful to be a mom. I can do hard things. I really do love the holidays. They are so fun. Won't this be amazing when my kids and my family members get to open these gifts that I took some meaningful time to get them? Isn't this amazing that we can afford gifts to buy for our kids and our family? I am so grateful for this opportunity. They are simple shifts, and on this podcast, they sound easy to do and they sound easy to implement, but they can be hard, and they can be hard to remember to do. It takes intentionality. Even still, when I've worked on my thoughts for a long time, I catch myself swimming in that overwhelm, like I just can't do this. This is too much. Do I like the holidays? Like I find myself asking all those questions because I get stuck. But as you shift, things become easier and it becomes lighter. As you do one action item on your list a day, as you write it down to get it out, as you breathe deep, as you put possible ideas on the cart, as you implement one of these things, it can help you to deal with the overwhelm. I would say the biggest way to deal with it is through your thoughts and working with your thoughts. But when you need those quick fixes, that's where our writing it down, the breathing, putting it in the cart. And I actually do have one more tip that I want to give you, and that is to move. Release some of that overwhelm. Physical activity is a way to release some of that overwhelm. Take yourself outside for a walk. Even if it's cold, just bundle yourself up and go walk around your house or your apartment complex or down your block once or twice and just breathe some fresh air and move. That actually really can help you to deal with overwhelm, and you'll find that when you get back, you can think a little bit clearer. So I was going to give you 4 ways, but I gave you 5 ways to deal with overwhelm. The 5 ways were to write down what's on your mind. Everyone you have to buy for, things you would like to do, things you need to get, Christmas cards, neighbor gifts, what have you. Just write it down. Next was to put possible ideas in your cart online if you are an online shopper. If you're not an online shopper, that tip probably won't work. So then you can move on to the next tip, which is to breathe. Do some deep breathing. Try 4-7-8 breathing. Change your negative thoughts of I can't do this is too hard, I'm too overwhelmed, to positive thoughts of I can do hard things. I am excited for this Christmas and the gifts that we were able to purchase. I feel deep gratitude to be able to be a mom that can give her kids gifts during the holiday season. And the 4th one is to move your body. I specifically suggested to bundle up and go out for a small walk to release some of that overwhelm. You can do this, Mama, and I know that this holiday season can be great and that you can minimize your overwhelm by doing one or multiple of the things in this episode. I am cheering for you. God needs you. Your children need you. And you need you to be the mom that you want to be. The patient, kind, caring, thoughtful, loving mom that you have always wanted to be, that you know that God wants you to be, and that you know you can be. I know you can do it. I know you can do it by these small and simple things. Line upon line, you will and you are becoming the mom that you want to be. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And most of all, thank you for implementing these tools in your life to make your motherhood better. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight, and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.